Hello there. Happy Revenge of the Fifth, everybody. I'm Andrew Dimalanta.
I'm Nicki Dimalanta.
Welcome to Going Rogue, our weekly Star Wars stream. And yes, I know I'm repping the black and gold today because I'm tired of doing my hair and wasting all my hair product because my hair is out of control because of quarantine. But somebody forgot to turn the volume down again.
Embarrassing to get called out.
But we're not doing this Revenge of the Fifth show alone. We were
Hell
on
no.
his show yesterday for May the 4th. I mean, I'll give you two guesses. No, I'll give you one guess as to who it is. It's Ben Goddard.
The bandit himself.
The bandit himself. Let me make sure your volume's up.
Blue out. OBS.
And yeah, we're double speaking. There we go.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Good.
Ooh, good. We're good. We're good.
Cool.
Alrighty. So, how you doing, Ben? How are you?
I'm doing great. Like I was telling this last night in my stream after our show, Cocktails and Casting, which was an absolute blast. Easily the best cocktail casting ever.
So much fun.
By the way, I creeped on the poll. Jim Parsons is winning by a landslide, and I am about to walk into the ocean.
Because isn't voting over like pretty soon? Isn't it only 24 hours?
It's
Yeah,
over
it
now.
depends on like when I put out the tweet. Like the show starts at 4:30, so I think like it's got like a few minutes left, like probably like half an hour to an hour, because C-3PO was one of the last.
Mhm.
So go vote. I don't even care if I win, as long as Jim Parsons loses. Get out of here.
That's the one that matters.
Well, no, there's another one that I'm taking issue with, but I am glad that
Yeah,
Jim Parsons
yeah.
is winning.
But anyways, yeah, if you haven't checked that episode out of
I
It
know
was a good
exactly
time.
what you're talking about, Nikki. I know exactly which one you're talking about that's winning, and I was down
Ah.
by the pool. We were making some taco meat down there, grilling some carne asada for
Nice.
Taco Tuesday, and I was about to throw myself in the water with a brick attached to me.
Yeah. I feel that telepathically we are talking about the same person,
Yeah.
so I'm
Absolutely.
comforted by
We
that.
absolutely are. There's no question of who we're talking about, and I am so upset.
And they're winning by a lot.
Yeah.
Like an uncomfortable amount.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're here for a special Revenge of the Fifth episode. I think it was just the will of the Force that this happened, that we were able to do a May the 4th and a Revenge of the Fifth episode with Ben Goddard. Well, not on both of our shows. But if you have not checked that episode that me and Nikki were on last night, go check it on the rewatch. It is
Cocktails and casting.
so much fun.
It was a good
So much
time.
fun.
It was so much fun. Like, it's not even like talking about my show. But just like hanging out with y'all. Like, and then my roommate watched for a little bit, and she's like, "Who is Nikki?" Because she killed me.
Oh man.
I'm just me, baby. You know?
Oh man.
It's so funny. But yeah, so we're right off the bat we already got a Streamlabs in, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that before we get into
Yeah,
our discussions.
I think it's appropriate too, because usually we start off with Clone Wars, and it is Clone Wars related.
Mhm.
So Exiled Garlic, thank you for
Thank
the
you for the
Streamlabs.
Streamlabs.
And very funny name. So Exiled Garlic says, with the finale, Clone Wars has become my favorite piece of Star Wars media. Ahsoka and Rex are top tier Star Wars characters to me. Having grown up with this show, I will miss it, but I'm glad it got the amazing conclusion it deserved.
Yes, and so that's a great lead into our top topic of the show, like we always do. We talk about Clone Wars season 7, as always on Going Rogue. Thank you for that Streamlabs, Exiled Garlic. If you would like to submit your Streamlabs, guys, go to. I know that one link wasn't working, so I won't plug that one. It will be streamlabs.com/videos by Andrew 1. And I can't change it. I'm so mad at myself I can't change it now. But that's the one you guys can go to if you want to submit your Streamlabs. But so let's go right into it. Because we get to talk about the finale and the one before that as well.
Okay.
So Ben, these last couple episodes, I know you said that you've been really enjoying.
Because I was on here when we were in the middle of the Spice Run arc, like those first 2 Spice Run episodes had dropped, and I was over it, man.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even watch. No, I think it was 3 out of the 4 were done. Because I didn't watch the last Spice Run episode because they got captured at the beginning of the second one,
Yeah,
and then
it
they
was
got
right
captured
back.
at the end of the third one. I was like, what is happening in Clone Wars right now?
Yeah.
I love Clone Wars. I've told you guys that the Tarkovsky Clone Wars is my favorite Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Those 2 seasons, an hour long each, that's my favorite Star Wars movie. And Screen Junkies just did an honest trailer for it, and it was pretty good. But this is why Clone Wars came back, and I'm absolutely sure that Dave Filoni came to Disney and was like, I want to end this.
Yeah.
Here's what I've got. And they're like, perfect. We'll put all the money into this, but you got to make something for the kiddies. You got to make something for, 8 more episodes. You got to, pull people in, just like have people watching for week to week because it was so successful with Mandalorian. And in retrospect, I'm okay with the Bad Batch. I'm okay with, Ahsoka and what's her name chasing the droid through the streets. It's a kid's show. It's animated.
Yeah.
But this is what all of us that grew up with Clone Wars, this is what we tuned in to see. And this did not disappoint. I want this to get released in theaters. These 4 episodes,
should be a movie.
2 hours, because it is that good.
Yeah.
That image of the window exploding in the throne room. I know that's 3 episodes back.
Are we talking about
image,
spoilers?
Yeah. So before we go on,
this is like 3 episodes ago.
But when we do get to the episode before the finale and the finale, we will be going. I decided we will be going to spoilers because you can't talk about the.
You can't.
You can't. There's absolutely no way to talk about this.
If you have not seen it and you want to see it, then maybe you want to catch us later.
Yeah.
I love to have you here, but I don't want to fuck anything up for you.
I forgot to bring in a spoiler thing for to OBS, so maybe check back and maybe
we'll wave our hands.
We'll wave our hands like
this.
this. So from this point on. Yeah.
Mute us.
We'll wave our hands like this again when spoilers are done.
We'll just say, come on back.
Yeah.
Nikki, timestamp this if you guys want to do it for Apple Podcasts or whatever. Like timestamp it. Like.
So what we'll do is Nikki will inform everybody in the chat when we are done with spoiler discussion. So if you want to just put us on mute, up until that point.
Because I don't know how to timestamps. Exclamation point timestamp. Right.
So anyway, droid we need one.
So anyways, God, these last couple episodes, because I really think these last 4 episodes should have been a movie. That's the way it was probably written up to be. That's the way it's structured. These last 4 episodes absolutely should have been a movie to close out all of Clone Wars. You could have gave us the first couple episodes with the Bad Batch and the Spice Running episodes with the sisters as episodes all right, we're gonna finish off with a bang. We're gonna give you a movie, and it'd be such great symmetry to start off the Clone Wars series with a movie and then end it with this awesome movie. So it's like the Force writing itself. We get a sucky movie to start it off, but then we get a bomb ass movie to end it with. So the fight with Maul, I'm arguing with myself, is that my favorite lightsaber duel of all time? And I'm kind of leaning towards it because it's so good. It's so amazingly good.
It's too short for me to be one of the best. And I was saying this in my review, just it's in a vacuum, it's perfect. It's so good. But and they even talk about it in the making of, when they're doing it, where the rest of Clone Wars, it feels a lot lighter. Yeah. And you definitely feel the weight in this animation. So it did feel like a big difference to me. Yeah. And I could tell, I wasn't even informed that it was mocap until after, but I could tell that I was like, there's something different about this because they're moving like people. In the rest of Clone Wars, Jedi. And that's
very hard poses.
The detriment of Clone Wars is how did Order 66 happen so easily when you have spent 6 seasons showing how godlike these Jedi Knights are? They're taking out armies of droids, they're backflipping 40 feet in the air, they're literally jumping out of starships and landing on the ground without a scratch on them, and then within 10 minutes they're all dead because of their clone troopers. Yeah. But that lightsaber fight and that image from the throne room when the window explodes, with how subtle the battle starts in the back just shows the futility of the whole Clone Wars, and I love that just juxtaposition of no, what's really happening is behind the scenes. This war does not matter. Who wins Mandalore does not matter. This is all a ploy to get the Emperor on the throne, and that moment is shown so well while Ahsoka and Maul they're not even paying attention to the battle outside, and it's not even loud. It's just there. And then when the window explodes, they don't even react. They're just they're locked on each other, and that's such a great representation of the entire war.
And what I like about these last couple episodes too is when Maul's coming back for the next the last episode of Clone Wars. How much more can we give Maul? He's got this amazing arc already with what we had from before this season, from 1 to 6, and then how he ends up in Rebels.
Yeah.
It's like it's such a great arc. What more can you give him? And the fact that he has a vision of Anakin turning to the dark side and becoming the Emperor's apprentice, and it's like, all right, he's powerless to do anything about it. He knows what's coming, but he can't do anything about it. He has like this burden of knowledge that he's like, the Emperor has been playing everybody from the beginning, and he's about to get everything he wants and then some with his apprentice. So it's like, that's such a great thing to give Maul, because it's like, I don't think you can do anything else.
No, like the moment I was talking about yesterday, and we'll talk about it when we talk about Revenge of the Sith, is that moment between Anakin and Obi-Wan where he's like, don't lose hope. You're going to become the Jedi Knight everybody wants you to be. You just have to be patient. And you're like, oh, maybe there is hope for Anakin after all. But then you realize, like, no, what am I talking about? Darth Vader exists. This is a prequel. I know what happens.
Yeah.
And that moment, I felt that same way when Darth Maul was reaching out to Ahsoka saying, you have to stop Anakin. This is what's going to happen. And she's like, okay, I believe you. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
And he says, like, it's Anakin. We have to destroy Anakin. And she's like, no, I don't believe you. And you're like, no, we had the chance. You were right there, Ahsoka.
Oh man, like, and that's the one thing I viewing that episode. It's like, had Maul succeeded in his plan to take out Anakin, even though I don't think he could have, but had he been able to achieve what he was going for, because he was supposed to lure Obi-Wan and Anakin to Mandalore and stop Anakin from ever becoming his apprentice, I don't think that helps. I still think the Emperor still comes into power. I still think Order 66 goes through as planned, and the Emperor still reigns over. And it's just a matter of he finds another person to do his bidding. So it's really this the way Star Wars has always been. These people have visions. They try their best to stop them or to do whatever, but no matter what you do, the Force is going to do whatever it wants, and it's going to put people in positions and go the way that it means to do. So, and like, what's his name? Guy that plays Kanan Jarrus. Jesus Christ, what's his name? Freddie Prinze Jr. had this amazing rant on a podcast.
I remember seeing that. It was good.
And he's talking about balancing the Force. It's like, all right, so the Jedi are in power, and like they're ruling over all this. But what does the Force do? It gives us Vader and Sidious, takes them down a peg. Now the Sith are in power. So what does the Force do? It gives us Luke and Leia. Boom, balances it out. So the Force is constantly balancing itself out. So even if Maul achieves his goal, the Force is going to correct itself anyways. So I think it's just futile for him to try, and it's just this great story of the burden of knowledge, and has absolutely nothing he can do to stop it. So and how good is Whitwer in these episodes when they have him like tied up?
Oh my God, that
so good.
haunts me.
It's so good. Oh my God.
That was he went above and beyond in that, and that's why like I wasn't mad when people were like casting him as Darth Maul like in our reboot. I was like, he kind of deserves that live action chance.
He does.
If you've seen The Mist, Sam Witwer's a great live action actor. He's a really good actor. He just is a great voice actor as well. So I would have been totally fine seeing him as Maul. And I mean, if we got a Han Solo sequel, a live action one with Crimson Dawn,
Crimson Dawn, yeah.
Is it Crimson Dawn? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, we got that tease at the end of Solo. I would have been fine with it because that was Ray Park, but it was Sam Witwer's voice.
Yeah.
So I would have been fine with Sam Witwer actually playing Maul if he could do the stunts because, Maul's known for being such a good fighter.
Yeah. So over under, let's give it 80%. Whitwer gets cast in a live action role with Dave Filoni at the helm.
Over.
Yeah, I would say over too.
Yeah, I think that's why. Not that Maul, like, they did such a good job, and I feel like Filoni's so attached with Maul and realized the potential that character had, and was like, no, we can't kill him off in episode 1. Like, he comes back, he's got robot legs, and just like the rampage he goes on the Star Destroyer with no weapon. I was like,
that was
damn
unreal.
Because like I'm finishing up Rebels, and the person you told me just died, so thanks for that.
Sorry.
I saw that coming. But you always notice that Ezra or Kanan never kill any stormtroopers. They're always like slicing their blaster and then like force pushing them back or something. And they do that a lot. And even in that last episode, they like go out of the way, be like, no, stun everyone. I don't want to kill these stormtroopers. They're my friends and stuff. And it just seems kind of noticeable because it's Disney.
Yeah.
But then you see Maul like
just crushing heads. He decapitated a dude with
Yeah.
the door. I'm like, oh my god, this is Disney.
With a door.
Yeah, he takes the
Yeah,
door
with
off
the door,
and
and
he
the guy's arm gets stuck in the blast
yeah,
doors,
he
and
like
he gets his
Captain
arm from that,
America's
like,
the door at him and
Damn.
decapitates him. Like you don't see the head coming off, but you see it from like a low angle and the
yeah, you
head
see like the
fall.
helmets fall. Yeah.
It's enough.
Jeez, like wow. But
Yeah.
but the
A lot of decapitations in Star Wars across.
yeah,
You know.
we'll get to that. So the second to last episode, I don't know
Spoilers, definitely,
how.
probably.
Definitely spoilers.
Definitely
Especially-
spoilers.
but so I don't remember ever being so nervous in Star Wars watching this episode because there's a scene where Ahsoka walks into the war room discussion that Mace Windu and Yoda and Ki-Adi-Mundi and Aayla Secura are in Revenge of the Sith. It's like that we see the continuation of that scene after it cuts off in the movie, and it continues.
Yeah.
Ahsoka walks into the room and they had that conversation. So you know, like, all right, Order 66 is about to go down. And I was like, I was nervous the entire time. Like, oh God, when is it gonna happen? Oh my God, when is it gonna happen? Oh my God, it's gonna happen soon. But like before we get to that, but like I told you about this, how like Windu is not my favorite Jedi, just because he comes off.
No one's favorite Jedi.
He comes off as a little like dickish sometimes, especially this one
does.
thing he says to Ahsoka, because Ahsoka said so much like, oh, I'm not a Jedi, I'm more of a citizen now. I'm just doing my citizenly duty. And then when they get to the point where they're talking about, I believe they want to talk about like Palpatine and him giving up his powers and stuff and like that, and he turns to Ahsoka is like, "Oh, this is Jedi business. This doesn't concern you, citizen." I'm like, "What?
Right? The
yeah.
shade,
What
man.
are you doing? She just helped capture Maul.
Yeah.
Man.
What is going on?" And then of course Yoda's the voice of reason, so everybody else fades out, and he's still there. He's like, "You have anything more to say?" And she's like, "No, I guess I don't." And it's like, "Okay," but like
What a
she
dick.
was about to tell him about Anakin. And like how
Yeah.
everything that Maul told her about Anakin, he was about to tell the council,
And
but
especially Windu, who
Yeah.
was always watchful of Anakin.
and he was the
If
one that
this-
didn't trust him.
If this asshat would have listened to her, he wouldn't have like left him like, oh no, you stay here. No, he'd been like, all right, you're gonna get thrown in the cell too real quick while we sort this
Yeah,
out,
exactly.
and then we'll work things out.
It's like
And- oh,
Asshat.
it's
God.
unreal, like because there's a book that I think Lucas's daughter wrote. It was something Disciple. The chat. Somebody write in chat the name of the book. Something Disciple with it was a story with Asajj Ventress and Voss Pity, Master Voss. Sorry, Quinlan
Okay.
Voss. And
oh yeah, okay.
yeah, and the whole point of the book is they send Quinlan Voss to partner with Asajj Ventress to go assassinate Dooku, and Windu is 10 times more dickish in this book than he is in this episode, and it's ridiculous. He's never really been my favorite, but like.
No,
It's ridiculous
Like,
how
he's only good in the Tarkovsky Clone Wars where he's
Yeah.
like fist punching like super battle droids. Like
Yeah.
that's his best moment.
yeah.
And like, but even still, like he's not like likable.
Mhm.
He's just super powerful.
Yeah.
And that it's one of those lines like in Attack of the Clones where it's like, oh, he's as wise as Obi-Wan, or Obi-Wan's as wise as Master
Master
Yoda,
Yoda
as
and
strong
powerful
as
as
Windu.
Windu, yeah.
Oh,
and-
Dark Disciple?
Dark Disciple, thank you. Who said that?
Good job, Feral on Fiction.
Thank you for that. Thank you. So
But yeah, so you just get that one line, and then that is like the coolest scene. One of the coolest scenes in Star Wars is when Mace Windu like lands on the deck, and
Yeah.
Grievous turns with his 4 lightsabers, and he just like force chokes him, and like
Yeah,
that's
his
why
chest,
Grievous
yeah.
has the cough and stuff. So
Mhm.
I love that scene, but man, like,
does
fuck you, Windu. Like, just
Disney still have the rights to that, or
Right.
they just like totally ignoring that now? Do they still have the rights to that?
I don't know if they have the rights to that, but I
'Cause
know it's not canon. Like,
It's,
I know
oh no, it's not
Sith.
canon, but it'd be cool to put it
Yeah.
on Disney Plus and just to put like a disclaimer like this is not canon, but come on, check this out. This is really cool. But
It- Like, I still like it better than, especially with how it perfectly leads into Revenge of the Sith.
mhm.
Exactly where Revenge of the Sith starts is where that micro series ends, and it's great.
Yeah, but like these last couple, especially this second to last episode when Order 66 does kick off, it's like because you see Rex's hands sort of shake, like he's trying to fight it, but he just can't.
Yeah.
And oh man, then the music, the score to these last 4 episodes of the Clone Wars have been amazing. It's like Kevin Kiner needs to be at the helm for a movie. Like it's so good.
Like, especially like I love the Maul Ahsoka one, but then like the next one when it's just this, and especially with how quiet these episodes are,
Yes.
like compared to the rest of the series, there's so many scenes. Like the beginning after she captures Maul, there's like after her and Bo-Katan separate, there's like no dialogue for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and that's
like they
that's the
fly
most
onto the Star
tense.
Destroyer, and then like this synth, like Blade Runner-esque music is playing in the background. I'm like, fuck me up, fam. This is like, I need this score. Like, John Williams, take a seat real quick.
Yeah.
Because this is the new Star Wars, man.
And it was like mostly, it was pretty much the reason, the score was the reason I was sitting there so tense. I'm like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna go down in the next minute or two. I'm waiting for the Emperor to come up, or I'm waiting for the clone troopers standing at guard on the bridge to go, okay, and then turn on her. I was like, I'm just waiting for that, but you actually see the Emperor pop up because Cody's in a briefing or something, and he's like, and then the Emperor's like, or execute Order 66, and then Ahsoka comes in, and then they just turn on her, and it's like, oh god, and I wanted, somebody brought this up on Twitter. I think it was at Chat that said that Ahsoka can fend off, like, she's surrounded by clone troopers and she's like blocking millions of shots, but then Ki-Adi-Mundi, member of the council, gets shot down in like 2 seconds.
I was literally about to bring that exact point up, because everybody in the movie went out like a punk ass,
and
like
you
just
can say
straight noob-tastic Battlefront 2 stuff, and you have, and I'm not saying like, oh, Ahsoka's not as powerful. Ahsoka's a fucking badass, and so. But that's how it should have gone down in the movie. I realize you got to montage this stuff.
Yeah, and it's just
there should have been like an army around Coyote. What was it, Coyote-Mundi?
Coyote-Mundi.
Coyote Ugly.
Coyote-Mundi.
That's his new name, Coyote Ugly. There should have been like they should have panned out with like this huge army was surrounding him, not 6 soldiers firing like right in his face.
I think the one Jedi that I'm disappointed the most with how they died was
Plo Koon?
No, not Plo Koon. Plo Koon was reasonable because he's in their starship. He can, it's not only so much he can do. It's Alice Sakura on the toilet
because of the way she fell.
The way she's like,
she got me.
She didn't even fight. It's like, oh yeah, she got distracted by a bird that flies. I was like, what? But again, it's just circumstances, because you got to show all these deaths and you only have like a snippet to show it in. So whatever. But but the way Ahsoka fought and like how she got out of it was like so cool. And because it's the same score that plays during Order 66 and Revenge of the Sith, and it's like swelling and swelling and swelling, and she's just blocking shots. Like, how is she gonna get out of this? And like,
like they do make it a very futile situation, and I like that, because like you think she gets away, and like they just keep coming, and so like that is where Order 66 like makes sense. Is that this is why the clone troopers beat the battle droids, because they were such effective soldiers, and they just were relentless in how they won battles. But like in Revenge, like it should have the fact that a youngling does better at the Jedi Temple in front of Senator Organa for like 10 seconds rather than like Jedi Council members. I was like, what is happening in this movie right now?
We were just talking about that. Yeah. Zechikasa, right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, where'd that little bastard come from? Like,
yes,
if it wasn't for him, like
he actually has a pretty interesting backstory if you just look him up, and he goes on this, I don't know if this is canon anymore, but he apparently goes on an adventure to find his parents or something like that. I read snippets about him, but he has a pretty interesting backstory. But yeah, so the second to last episode ends with Rex gets his inhibitor chip taken out of his head, and so he's no longer following Order 66, and like he informs Ahsoka, it's like it's every clone trooper, so every single clone trooper is now hunting Jedi down.
Oh boy!
So it's like, it's not like, oh, well, there's like only a few of us that you get to find out. It's like, nope, it's every single one of you, every single clone trooper in the galactic army of the Republic is now thinking every single Jedi is a traitor to the Republic.
How easy is it to get out the thing? Is
Is
it like a little USB that you just pull out?
It's like this little like chip thing that they have to remove her head. But I remember that sequence was she has to go through and actually find it. And there's a fantastic throw to Rogue One here where she sort of assists the machine or something like that. I don't know exactly what, but she puts her hands to his head and she starts to pray to the Force. I'm one with the Force. The Force. You hated that? Well, you don't like Rogue One.
It's one thing for a Force-sensitive person to say that. It's another thing for a Jedi to say that.
She's not a Jedi though anymore. So
she is a former Jedi that is completely immersed in this Force. Like, she's not some noob that was like, she's not like oh god, she's not a Temple Guardian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really like that because again, canon junkie here. I love it when things tie into each other. And this is like it's not so much it is sort of in your face, but it's subtle enough to where like if you didn't watch Rogue One, it's like okay, so maybe she's just chanting something that she was taught. But then people that saw Rogue One is like, oh yeah, that's the thing that Chirrut Imwe said, and it's a prayer. So basically, she's praying to the Force to help guide her basically. So I liked it. I know you don't. Ben shaking his head. I enjoyed it. Again, but then again,
it's like saying like guys at LA Fitness playing basketball, they would say this chant. LeBron James doesn't need to pray before he plays basketball. Like
I know, and I liked it.
Oh god.
Again, me and Ben are very two different Star Wars fans. I'm a very forgiving Star Wars fan. I liked it. I really thought it was a fun little tie-in to Rogue One because we're starting to this almost not leads directly into, but it's going to lead to that era. But so that's when the episode ends with Rex informing Ahsoka that every single clone trooper is a part of this and you can't trust anybody anymore. And then the last episode is like I think that's where like the meat of it. If this was like a movie, this is like the big moment, and the last episode is just tying everything up and concluding everything. But like, yeah, the second episode. If I was to rank the last two episodes, I like the second to last episode better than the last one. But very little because the way this is all wrapped up, I got a very similar vibe to Revenge of the Sith when I saw it for the first time. It's kind of bittersweet that like, oh man, it's the end of an era, but we know there are more stories to be told with Ahsoka. And like it hit me pretty hard. I was like, God, I've been a fan of this series for the longest time, and it's like, oh, it's over. But if they had to wrap up some way, I thought it did because it ends with Vader finding Ahsoka's lightsaber in the very end.
What planet was that? I thought that like for a second they were landing on Tatooine or
No,
Jakku or something.
I don't know right off the bat. It's mentioned. This scene is mentioned in the Ahsoka novel. People keep saying that these last two episodes are retconning something in the Ahsoka novel. I don't see it that way because in the Ahsoka novel they said that I believe Rex and Ahsoka fake their deaths so the Empire won't come after them.
Okay.
And to a point they did because Ahsoka leaves her lightsabers behind on that planet, and then they leave, and there's nobody reported, confirmed or denied their deaths because everybody on that ship died. And and that's one thing I really want to talk about. That Ahsoka seems to be the only Jedi that was like, no, I don't want to hurt these people. I fought alongside these troopers. I don't want they're being made to do this stuff.
Obi-Wan and Yoda didn't
in Revenge of the Sith, they don't care. It's like they're coming after us.
Yoda just decapitates the first two, and then they go to the Jedi Temple, and Yoda's just like throwing his lightsaber everywhere. And
yeah, but I the way I see this, it's like it's so typical of her character to be so forgiving, and it's like I know why they're doing this to me, so I don't want to. It's like they're gonna die eventually. The ship probably will crash. They're gonna die, but I don't want to be the one that kills these troopers that I've fought alongside with, and they put their trust in me. I put my trust in them, and it's just like I don't want their last act in this world to be me taking them out. So I find that a little endearing.
I like that, but also on the other hand, it's kind of easy to say I don't want to be the one to kill them, but I'm gonna release Darth Maul to cause a bunch of chaos and destroy the entire Star Destroyer. Like, granted, she didn't know he was gonna go after the fuel cells or anything like that, or the hyperdrive, whatever he does. Mm-hmm. But also, she literally releases him to cause chaos. He's not gonna be like, hey, punch you out and you're incapacitated. No, you're gonna die when you go up. And like literally, when he's running away, he's like, you asked for this. Like, and I do like that final line from Darth Maul is like, you asked for this chaos. Yeah. I was trying to team up. Granted, Darth Maul probably doesn't have the most altruistic of motives. He's just trying to stop Palpatine. And granted, like you said, the Force will balance out. Yeah. Maul probably would have taken over. He would have seen that power vacancy and he would have tried to fill it. But still, like he at least had the motives of like trying to stop the greater evil. Yeah. Like the enemy of my enemy is my friend in this situation. And Ahsoka's like, go wreak some havoc and I'm gonna do what I need to do. So in retrospect, she didn't directly kill them, but she killed them.
Yeah. And I like that Rex is like, they don't care. They're gonna they're trying to kill you. But
I did like that part. He's
Yeah.
like, you need to realize
Yeah.
that this is the entire army.
And it's like
This is everyone. They're gonna kill me, and I fought alongside them longer than you did. I'm literally their blood and the same person they are.
Yeah.
And now they don't care.
Yeah, and I just found it endearing that no matter the stakes, because we've seen this with Ahsoka before, that like she always comes back to who she is, and this is just another way of saying that, like, yeah, I realize they're not who they used to be, but again, this is her nature to be kind and forgiving, and it's just a pure Ahsoka to me. And throughout this whole last season, Ahsoka, like throughout all of Clone Wars, Ahsoka went to my least favorite like character introduced into the canon to probably top 5. Ahsoka is probably top 5 Star Wars characters for me now, just because, and a lot of it has to do with this last arc that we've seen in Clone Wars, and it's so good. What were your thoughts on the last episode and how everything was wrapped up?
I mean, the only bad thing, like, I love these last 4 episodes. The only bad thing is that we both know where these characters end up, or at least that they're in Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I haven't finished Rebels, but I know Darth Maul is there. I know how he dies, and then obviously, like, I've seen clips of Rebels, and I know and I've seen the season that she's in, so I know she at least fights Darth Vader. So like, it's hard to when she's falling, and it's beautifully animated, scored, voice acted. It's everything about it is good. It's just hard for me to be like, oh, is Ahsoka gonna make it to the ship? Oh my god, I know she does. Yeah. But I do love that it's not this big like overall affecting the entire galaxy ending. No, this was Ahsoka's story. This is like I saw people saying like, oh, I wish we would have seen Palpatine get captured. Go watch Tarkovsky's Clone Wars because that's amazing. And I feel like Filoni knows that, and he's not gonna top that. He's just like, you're not gonna top that. I think wall action they have in that animated thing, and how badass Grievous looks in that. And so, I did like how it just kind of fades away. Like that's Ahsoka did. She just faded away for a long time until the Rebels discovered her, and she decided to fight again. She just kind of faded away and like had to go into hiding. And the animation of that graveyard. Of the snow, of Vader finding her lightsaber, like, woof, chills.
And you can actually see, like, if you look at his lenses, you can actually almost see his eyes. It's like there's just so many good touches in this, and like I got emotionally like invested in this last couple of episodes because like I know where these characters end up, but it's like it's not so much the destination, it's the journey. I want to see all this happen on screen. So. So those are our thoughts on the last few episodes of the Clone Wars. If you guys have any Streamlabs, again, streamlabs.com/videos by Andrew1. Wish I can change that. But
I was going to donate like $10,000, but that one, never mind.
God.
So let's go ahead and move on to movie news.
Spoilers are over.
Spoilers are over.
Oh,
go ahead.
come on back.
So, Nikki, go ahead and type in chat that spoilers are over. But yeah, so let's get to a little bit of movie news. There's a couple of like announcements that were made here and there, but I think the biggest piece of news was that Taika Waititi was confirmed to be directing a Star Wars film in the future. We have no idea what it is, who's attached to the project. All we know is he's co-writing, directing a Star Wars film. And we said as much on your show yesterday, Ben, that I'm excited for this. I just have concerns with Marvel humor finding its way into a Star Wars movie, but that's it. Taika Waititi is a hot commodity right now, and after how he's handled episodes of Mandalorian, I'm pretty much all in on this. I just have a couple of concerns with humor and all that. I know you really don't have a whole lot to say on it. But
not really. I mean, he seems pretty rad. So, I mean, he was cool as IG-11. He's cool there.
Hey, Heather with the knowledge. But no, I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm honestly even less concerned about the humor because I like the humor in Last Jedi. I like the stormtroopers, missing in the beginning of Mandalorian. Like, I think that's funny. Like, Star Wars has gotten like self-referential. It's funny because like people don't like the humor of the self-referential stuff in Star Wars, but then when they reference a giant plot hole in an entire movie, then it's okay. then it's okay. But I digress. But no, as long as for me, stay away from Skywalkers. I don't want a prequel. I don't want a sequel. I want way far in the future or Old Republic. And I keep saying that's such a big reason why people took to Mandalorian is because it didn't interfere with their Star Wars.
Yeah.
It didn't interfere with their Luke Skywalker or their Han Solo or anything like that. It was just new stuff in a new part of the galaxy, even if it was right after Return of the Jedi. Even if it was like closely tied to the timeline, it wasn't a part of the saga. It was all new characters. And yes, Baby Yoda was Baby Yoda, but they didn't say, I think I met this Jedi Knight one time on Coruscant, and he looked just like this little fucker. Like, no.
Yeah, I don't mind it if it does happen in a timeline that we're already familiar with. I don't mind it. I just, I love seeing, like, maybe see the war from a different perspective, or see the Clone War from a different perspective, and just don't, like, you can see Jedi in passing, but, like, don't have it die directly into a main storyline. You can be some Joe Schmo on a planet we haven't seen before, and he's thinking about joining the rebellion, or something like that. But
I'd be down for like a Cad Bane story, like those assassin stories that didn't have much to do with the actual Clone Wars, but like intersected a little bit with our main characters. I'd be fine with that, absolutely.
All right, awesome. Yeah, so we just got a Streamlabs in from Ferris Mathana, Squadron Commander.
Ferris.
Thank you. Going off of Ahsoka, I finally watched Rise of Skywalker last night. Wait, ROS.
Did he?
Rise of Skywalker or Revenge? Wait, ROS. Revenge of the Sith or Rise of Skywalker?
Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I finally watched ROS last night, and I heard her.
Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, okay, yeah, that part when they're all talking to her. I finally watched Rise of Skywalker last night, and I heard her. The question is, how can they incorporate her in The Mandalorian with what story?
What?
So they're talking about Ahsoka.
How can they incorporate her in The Mandalorian with what story?
So, I see her maybe Ahsoka being tied into the Mandalorian, like maybe they just run into her, or I theorize that she's gonna have something to do with the child and helping the Mandalorian out with handling a Force sensitive child. And again, I don't want her to be just passed by cameo. I want her to have at least a 2-episode arc to where she does help Mandalorian understand what's going on with the child, because at this point Jedi are still kind of myths, and they're like, people know of the stories of the Jedi, but they're like, they don't believe the stories so much. They're just like legends and myths.
Or like I just played that level in Battlefront where you are Luke Skywalker and you run to the Imperial officer.
Yes.
And he's like, I was just like, it's like propaganda. Like they were like like bashed and like, oh, these are demons and they'll kill you and they'll leave no prisoners. So like that's who the Jedi are right now.
Yeah. So so I would say that she's brought in to help Mandalorian with the child. I could see them just bumping into her because maybe she's with Sabine looking for Ezra, or something like that. I don't know, but I think it has 100% to do with the child and her helping him out. I think that's how they're gonna tie her in, and this could also just spin off into her own story and her either a show or a movie.
In the case of Baby Yoda, you are not the father.
Yeah. And do you have any thoughts on this, man, at all?
About Ahsoka, like I just hope they do it right. That's all. Like I trust Favreau and Filoni. I'm totally on board. Like I wasn't like over the moon about Mandalorian. I liked it. It was fun. The set design was great. But I trust them. So however they want to do it, I'm okay with it. I'd love to see like I just want to see the Obi-Wan series. That's all I want to see. Yeah. And I want to see Bo-Katan come in there.
Absolutely.
Katie Sackhoff as a Mandalorian. I want more Mandalorian in the Mandalorian. Like I want him, after the big, street battle, they kind of all disappeared except for him. And so I want them to come back. Like, where'd they relocate? Where's like their next underground lair?
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say that's why I said like a 2-episode arc you can get all the fanboys are like, oh, it's Ahsoka, and like you get enough of her, but it doesn't really rely. Like when Ishun leaves, it's just that she's gone. So like you get enough of her to satisfy everybody, but she's not there to take over the entire story. And I think 2 episodes is enough to do that.
Yeah, and you tease her series like, hey, exactly. I got a call, from Sabine or from Bo-Katan or like something like that to go back and like you should meet up. Like these are your people, not mine. And then he's like, no, I Gotta fucking babysit.
Yeah, so that's how. Thank you to that for that streamless Ferris
Ferris.
Mathana, Squadron Commander. Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on to the main topic of tonight's discussion, and since it is Revenge of the Fifth, we're talking about the movie Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3. Now,
Wait, that's where that comes from?
Oh,
man.
Whoa.
Whoa,
Way
just blew my mind.
It's amazing how that works out.
I think Ben is blurry. Oh no.
Is
Did you-
Ben a blurry boy?
I think yeah, your camera's out of focus.
Oh,
Yeah.
Looks like
boy.
to me.
It always does this. Like whenever I lean back, it just like gets out of focus. Let me see if I can.
Yes,
where
so-
are you? There we go. Webcam settings.
Yeah, so while Ben messes with his camera, I remember the first time. Obviously, that first time I saw this was when it came out in theaters. Like a lot of fans, I sat out and camped out for tickets, or not tickets for seats because I got advanced tickets before, and then then we had to sit outside for our tickets, and that's what I really remember about this. Did you have the similar experience, Ben?
All you kids are so lucky with your assigned seating. We had to camp out days in advance to try and get a top middle seat. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like I had friends that camped overnight. I was there, luckily I only had, that was my junior year, so I was done by lunch. So I was there from 1 p.m. on till like the midnight. Like there was no, and especially now, like, you know, Thursday showing at 7 p.m. now, 6 p.m., 9 p.m. It was 12:01 a.m. So I was there for 12 hours. And like we had lightsaber fights in the street. We had the cops call like, to get out of the street. We had people like come by and like try and throw water balloons at us because we were nerds. And then friends bought eggs, and the next time they came back, we egged their car. So we fought back. So
They
I had
came
nerds.
back?
They tried to do it again, and we were not having it. We were ready for them that time.
They're the nerds. If you're trying to come back to the scene of the crime, like idiots.
So I had quite an experience, and like I said off screen, like I had the best Star Wars. One of the best Star Wars moments I ever had was when the nurse droid gives takes like, "Oh, Luke, Leia," and my friend goes, "Oh, I get it." And like the movie's like the best of the trilogy, but by that time everyone's like, this might not be exactly what I wanted. So everybody just burst out laughing in the theater, and it was like the perfect thing.
So your experience with Revenge of the Sith is probably more recent, within I would say 10 years.
Well, yeah, if we've been
Married 5.
married
6.
for 6 years,
6.
then probably
Quick, Randy.
Every time. So married couples, guys, you always panic. Two dates: your wife's birthday and your wedding anniversary. Those are the two you always panic.
There are even sometimes that I have to be like, we got married in 2014. 1, 2, 3. So it's okay.
Yeah, so those are the two questions that I always panic. I was like, oh, June 16th.
So Nikki knows the year. She's just really bad at math.
There you go.
So 6 years we've been married. So you would say.
So if we were married 6 years, then yeah, probably somewhere between 6 and 10 years ago was when I first saw it.
Yeah.
Because I definitely had to watch it while we were dating, and then I had to watch it again before the wedding.
Yeah.
So somewhere in that 4-year time frame, math.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty recent compared to most people. And
what was your, I want to get your thoughts on it first. Like, what were your overall experience? Because me and Ben probably have different experiences with seeing it the first time.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't remember the first time I sat down and watched it.
But
I don't remember what my feelings
looking
were.
back on it now, what do you think of the movie? Like, how do you like how Anakin turns into Vader and all that stuff?
I feel like it is correct to say that it's the best of the prequels. I'd probably say 3, 1, 2. You know, which I think a lot of people would agree with. Yeah. Because 2 is wow.
I don't know. I rewatched 1 for Cocktails and Casting. It's pretty wow as well.
It is.
Yeah. It took when we're obviously studying for Schmodown. Nikki was taking notes on Attack of the Clones. It took her 3 days to get through that
I don't know
movie.
what it was about.
She
me.
kept falling asleep.
I just kept falling asleep. Yeah, commentatory nerd, you're right. Ooh, with the shirt colorful. Ooh, boy.
Yeah, but so like knowing the story and knowing Anakin's turn, like were you underwhelmed? Were you thinking something else would happen? Like,
I think it played out pretty much the way I thought it would. I
Mhm.
mean, you kind of, it's hard when you already have the original trilogy in your brain and you already know where Palpatine's headed. You already know where Anakin's headed, you know? So it's kind of hard to be like, you know, when stuff happens in the prequels. So I don't know. I did enjoy watching Palpatine like pull the strings. Like I thought it was fun to see how he got him there and how he started seducing Anakin to the dark side, which I think is like a weirdly appropriate word.
Seduce.
just,
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
seducing.
they
yeah.
do use that word.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he takes him on a date to the opera house.
he sure
so.
does.
Yeah.
Hey, baby, you want to come see opera with me?
Got
I'll
five
make everybody else
box.
leave our box and it'll just be
Palpatine's
us.
just putting the popcorn right here for no reason.
Oh,
No,
man.
Anakin, there's more at the bottom.
You thought we'd get through an episode, Andrew. You thought we were 40 minutes.
I thought we
in.
could have a fun, serious discussion about Revenge of the Sith, but we have Ben Goddard on,
Uh,
and Ben Goddard and Nicki
not
combined.
from Jedi.
But yeah, so
He thought it would go one way, but only Sith deal in absolutes.
Andrew, have I ever told you about Nicki Plagueis the Wise?
The tragedy of us not talking about the planned discussion. Oh boy.
Oh my God. So
Oh,
Ben.
Oh boy.
Ben, so I want to have the discussion with you because again, like when first seeing this movie, I was one of those kids, one of those guys where it's like the first time I see any of the prequels, like it's the best thing ever. But then time passes, and it's like maybe it's not the best thing ever. And then more time passes, and it's like I fucking hate this movie. And then more time passes, and it's like all right, I understand what these movies are now.
Oh wait, can I give a breaking announcement?
What?
Brandy Parker, thank you with that. FYI, Christian just announced an 8-person Star Wars tournament on Twitch starting May 20th.
Love to see it.
So that's a big deal. That's like this month.
So yeah, let's break off that for a second. Obviously,
Sorry for the breaking news, but
Sorry for
Brandy
the breaking
just
news.
dropped some
Yep, it's on the Facebook page.
it's on the Facebook page. So is any names dropped, or is it just a tournament?
Starting May 20th, the Star Wars Division will have an 8-person tournament and will be exclusive on Twitch.
Well, there you go.
So
John Roca, Kevin Smets.
Yeah,
I can see
probably.
it. I can see it, but I don't mean to talk Shimoda because we try not to talk so much Shimoda on here, but I don't want to say that. I'll
Let's just not.
let's just not talk about it because
We'll let Christian say who's going to be in it.
Damon play to that's all I care about.
yeah.
Yeah,
But,
come on.
But yeah, so most likely I will be in that tournament. I can say that now.
I'd like to hope so.
I would like to hope that I'm in the tournament. I need to contact Dagnino about that, but most likely I will be in that tournament, and most likely Sean will be in that tournament as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for it. I've been itching to get back in, and let's do it. So, anyways, like I said before, like as time passed, like you can see this with the fandom now too. Like they look back on the prequels. It's not this like this shun thing anymore. It's like, all right, we accept the storytelling. We can recognize that there are certain story beats in there that we can appreciate, but we can all agree that the movies aren't perfect pieces of art. But looking at overarching story of Palpatine pulling the strings and how certain things happen, I totally agree that these movies could have been executed much better. But now that we have time to step away from them and look at the character development, and now that we have things like Clone Wars to add to the lore, I can appreciate especially this movie. I can appreciate more now. So, do you have a similar like?
Absolutely. Like, we're about the same age. So I feel like we got very lucky with our Star Wars viewing is that like when we were kids, we got shown the original trilogy and we loved it.
Yeah.
And then in 99, like I was 11, 12, like
Something
I
around
was
there,
11 because it was like during the summer.
Yeah.
So like of course I love Phantom Menace. Like it was amazing.
Yeah.
That Star like especially because they put Duel of the Fates at the end, so you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
And then Attack of the Clones, like again, they put the best stuff at the end, so you're like,
Whoa,
okay,
yeah.
wow,
Yoda,
wow. Like I starkly remember that moment when like Dooku defeats Anakin and Obi-Wan, and even that's the worst lightsaber fight in the entire history of Star Wars, of them just like raving against each other,
Dooku
not
versus
connecting.
Anakin.
But even at that moment, I convinced myself, I was like, oh, this is such a good reference to Empire Strikes Back with the red and blue.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so
you're
good.
trying to,
like
you're trying
Lucas,
to like make
oh man,
excuses,
he's back. And then you see Yoda's shadow, and the whole theater went Avengers Endgame in this motherfucker when Cap gets the hammer.
Yeah.
The entire theater went nuts.
Yeah.
And then when he says like, it's clear that we are the same in the Force, so we have to sell this for lightsaber. And he opens up his robe and Force grabs his lightsaber again. Like everyone went nuts. So that was like, looking back on it, it's not good. But in that moment, hype. City.
Yeah.
Hype City.
Hype City. And then Revenge of the Sith, like it was the best one, and it ended in a great way as well. Like Lucas knew to put the best of at the end of each movie, so you walk out feeling better than you should. And so, like, granted, like like, you know, and I had the funny moment about, oh, I get it. So like that made me laugh. But then, you know, you look back on it, it's like, man, like they really rushed this last 20 minutes to get everyone in their New Hope starting line positions.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I loved it growing up. Yeah, hindsight's 2020, but I don't care. Like I love the prequels growing up, and I never want to change that. Granted, I just watched Phantom Menace, and
yeah.
Wow.
City, Wolf City.
Yeah, but like, so let's go ahead and let's talk about the movie. Like, just looking back on it, like, what are your favorite parts of the movie? Like, I know, like, there's certain things. Well, we'll get to the things that aren't as strong as the other things, but I want to start talking about the stuff that we enjoyed about Revenge of the Sith, and like, I like there. I was talking to you about this before. Like, Lucas, he's lost his edge as a director as of recently with the prequels and stuff. And like, it was just a lot of like him just doing what he wanted, nobody restricting his ideas and things like that. But the thing that I've always liked Lucas about is subtlety. There are so many small, subtle things in this movie. The whole Anakin in the Jedi Council chamber looking across to Padme's apartment, and them basically looking at each other and no dialogue whatsoever, and you know exactly what Anakin is thinking in this moment, and like nothing needs to be said during this moment. And this is a small moment that I loved in this movie. Just like, and I remember him like when he's in the apartment, and I told you about it when he's like drifting off, and like he has this vision of of Obi-Wan helping Padme out, and like the thing is he has this like whatever the thing is, like a PS,
his Nintendo Switch,
his little Nintendo Switch thing is here, and he goes up and he puts it down. I remember watching in the special features that originally when they shot it, Anakin's hand was originally up like this, but then Lucas goes in and it's like, no, he really shouldn't have it up. He should be paying attention to the screen. He needs to be off in his own thoughts. So they went in and cut around his hand and digitally had it down like this, and had him bring it up like that, and digitally animate it. And it's like, because if he has it like this, he's looking at the screen when he really shouldn't be. So he should be lost in his own thoughts. So he should be down like this and daydreaming. And that's a small little. It's such a small thing, but I was like, okay, I can get behind that, because it's paying attention to small little details that Lucas does a lot of the time and messing with the frame itself that I appreciate. But then you get into like the dialogue and the directing of this film.
Yeah, dialogue is.
But like,
man, even that first time I watched it, that balcony scene where Padme and Anakin are talking, and they're 25 feet apart. He's like, no, because I'm just so in love with you. Like,
and you're blinded by your love.
What is happening?
You had a huge rap about this, and I cannot stop laughing at this point, because you were.
We were
like,
just watching it today, and same exact scene. Okay, so the scene starts and you see Padme, and she's all beautiful and glowing and pregnant, and she's got a beautifully done curly hair, and she's over here brushing it, and I'm like, bitch, you cannot brush curls like that. They're not gonna look like that if you brush them. Obviously, George didn't have any women on his staff, because if she had that beautiful hair and she was brushing it out, it would just be a big old fucking mess. And that really bothered me. Like, you're not brushing your hair if it's curled up like that. Get out of my face. I mean, the dialogue, yeah, that was shitty too. But the hair, come on. Like, come on.
But
yeah,
I mean, but like, but let's get away from the negative. Let's get back to the
Things you
yeah.
like, yeah.
Back
Hey,
to
you
the
brought
back to the
Megan,
good.
not us.
So, but like, yeah,
Her
it's
hair
just-
looks gorgeous.
this movie, it's like, regardless of all like the dialogue and the direction and stuff, like there's just small subtle things like, you know, the hint of Palpatine and the way he manipulates everybody in this scene. He manipulates the Senate. He's manipulating Anakin. He's, you know, he's hiding in plain sight in front of the Jedi this entire time. And it's just small things like that that I've come to appreciate about this film. And the lightsaber fight was one of those where I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this is amazing. But then I've since scaled back on that. But this is like one of the lightsaber fights that I've been waiting for my entire childhood. It's like Obi-Wan versus Anakin. We want to see this, and I have my own gripes with it, but like it is one of the moments where of like you were the chosen one. It's like moments like that I absolutely love.
No one argues about that one because like that was, especially because like this whole thing, like just the acting and everything felt so stilted. So it was just like a breath of fresh air. To like, this is the first movie I feel like we get any emotion. Even watching Anakin and Padme fall in love in Attack of the Clones, it was just very like ugh.
Weird.
And so like seeing like Ewan McGregor truly, and even Hayden Christensen, when he was just like, he's beaten, he's done, but it doesn't matter. He's completely consumed, and you see the yellow in his eyes, and like this is when you see that Hayden Christensen is a good actor, and he's like crawling. And like you believe that he doesn't have any arms or legs, and he's just like, I hate you, and like the spit is coming out of his mouth, and it's so good.
Yeah.
And especially with when you have like the scene right before that when like he still sounds like a whiny baby. He's like, oh, you'll never take it from me. He sounds like Will Ferrell in Step Brothers. Like, hey, don't say that.
Hey, don't say that.
I would argue like
I talked about it yesterday, and even a little before, like. The opening scene of this movie, like that tracking shot with the starfighters, is great. And then, you know, they walk into the Grievous or Dooku's throne room, and Palpatine looks exactly like he does in Return of the Jedi. So I like that. And then, like, my favorite scene of this movie is that scene right before Obi-Wan goes to Utapau, and he can tell. He sees the frustration and the angst and the anger that is brewing inside Anakin, and he knows he shouldn't leave. He knows he shouldn't leave, but he's going for the greater good to end this war. He thinks that killing General Grievous is going to end this war, so he has to go. But he sees like everything that's going wrong with Anakin. He's like, be patient. I've taught you patience. You just need to listen to me this one time. If ever you listen to me, which you never have in your entire life of me training you, just listen to me this one time that we are going to make you a full Jedi Master. Just as soon as this war ends, you have to, like, he knows he's blinded by Palpatine, but he can't do anything about it, and he's just trying. And like you said, like the small things of George Lucas putting in that, like, he's like, oh, only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Yeah.
That's the most hypocritical statement ever. That only a Sith. That's an absolute. That only a Sith deals in absolutes. Like
That's true.
that right there.
That's a
like
good
you
point.
really do see the hypocrisy of the council when you rewatch this movie. Granted, you really have to nitpick the good things about these, but they're there. The nuggets are there in this movie. That's why Revenge of the Sith does work for me in like I'd say like 80% Revenge of the Sith work for me.
Yeah, and that one scene with Christensen, I think the best acted part of it is after Windu dies, and he's like, he's like, what have I done? I'm like, that's the best scene I think for him.
I don't know about the "What have I done" line, but in that scene, my favorite part for him is, isn't he like kneeling or something?
Yeah,
and he's like, "I'll do whatever you say," and it's like he just sounds and looks so defeated.
Yeah,
and I'm like, all right, cool, good
like
job.
He just portrayed Jedi Master.
Yeah,
and he's like, I know what I'm doing is wrong. I know this is not what I'm taught to do, but I want to save my wife's life.
Yeah,
and it's just.
I thought in that moment, on his knees, saying, "I'll do whatever you want." That was he just he did it. I thought he did.
Nicki, okay, relax. You
He's just on his knees.
What would you? Yeah.
But whatever I want, my favorite part.
Yeah, Daddy Palpatine, whatever you want.
So what would you say, like things that you enjoyed out of it?
I think one of my favorites is, you know, not surprisingly, Mustafar. I liked that you were the chosen one. That whole exchange, that was I don't know, because I thought that Ewan McGregor, he did a fantastic job. I thought Hayden did what he could, and that's probably my favorite scene.
What would you guys think of the whole like after the Mustafar fight and like after Anakin gets taken to put into the Vader suit and juxtapositioning that with intercutting with Padme giving birth to the twins. I found that to be a genius move because it's the birth of evil, but also the birth of the New Hope.
Wow.
It is good until he says no.
Yeah.
That I totally agree with.
Yeah, that was not.
And I agree with you. I'm trying to be positive.
Yeah.
But that scene does get ruined by, and like, because I don't know, like, yes, the comics, like, Darth Vader like talks, but in the movies, like, he's so selective with his dialogue, and that's what makes Vader so intimidating. So I don't want to hear him say, "Where is Padme? Is she all right?" Like, no, like, I want him completely consumed, and like, I don't want him remembering Padme, and especially I don't remember, like, yes. I'll give you "Where's Padme," but then just have him crush the entire room with the Force. Don't have no.
And for all I know, because like in canon comics, they've done so much to like take that moment and then bring you to the Vader that we all know, because he goes on all these adventures, and you kind of continue to see Palpatine like screwing with his head continually and constantly like being on top of him. It's like, no, you need to do this to become an absolute Sith. And like, I haven't read any of the comics because they're just so hard to keep up on. But I did read Lords of the Sith, and Palpatine constantly is on top of Vader, just like continuing like, you need to do this. He's constantly testing him and testing his loyalty and testing him to see, are you totally committed to the dark side? And like we don't get to see that in the movies, but I like seeing that, like, it's the birth of the absolute evil that we've come to know. But then on the flip side of that, it's the birth of hope, and the birth of the person that we know that Luke absolutely comes back to redeem his father. So I like that part about it. Anything else that you guys want to talk about?
That was very deep.
Yeah.
Good job.
I just wish, like, the main thing is just like they really just sidelined Padme to this role of being like just barefoot and pregnant, and it's just like, because you have Natalie Portman, she's so great, and you saw what she could do in Attack of the Clones. Like, she's out there, and like, granted, she got redeemed in the Clone Wars series of how much she was involved, so I did love that. But it's just so strange how they would make her such an active badass in one movie, and then her like not even saying anything. Like, it's one thing, like, I don't need her shooting a laser or anything like that, but like even in the Senate, she's just like, well, this is how liberty dies. I'm like, well, speak the fuck up then.
Or at the very least, do something more powerful with your words with Anakin, because a lot of the times she's like, hold me, comfort me. It's like, you're breaking. She's resorted to this like shelve the person that she really truly is. But like, it's just, it's just, again, it's Lucas not really knowing what to do with her writing wise. So so I think that's a good segue to talk about. I know we can go hours on things we don't like about this movie.
Oh yeah.
But what is your biggest gripe about Revenge of the Sith? Because balancing the Force, you need to have good and bad.
It balances itself out, honestly, throughout the movie. Like, it takes one step forward and then two steps back. Like, even in that the Palpatine versus Windu fight, like at the very beginning, you have these Jedi like, and then the lightsaber fight isn't good, but then Anakin's decision's really good, and then you have unlimited power, and then you have him go, what was that?
Yes.
And then you have like Padme getting choked out, and he's like, let her go. And like, God, Ewan is so good in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
He's so freaking good. And I feel like, yes, we celebrate him all the time, but he is so good. And just like when he's like, you won't take her from me, he's like, you have done that yourself.
Yeah.
Damn.
He's
burn. And just in control, and I love that.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut, but the two people I would say that saved this movie for me, Ewan McGregor and Ian McDermott.
Oh, hell yeah.
Ian McDermott absolutely always delivers as Palpatine.
He's so good.
Any movie
even when he does that little like thing, he's still so good.
You love that little smile he does before he shoots.
Oh yeah, right before he shoots it, he gives his stupid smile, and then and it's okay with me because it's him.
He's so but like
And also, on this whole thing of what did you like and what didn't you like, Ferris Muthana did another Streamlabs. Thank you again.
Thank you, Ferris.
And said Mace Windu had it coming. The guy was a dick. And you are right.
So like, I cut you off, man. Like, what were you saying? Like, it takes two steps forward, and like,
and like that's the whole thing. Is like even the opening battle is so good, but then like we get into like these goofy things, like when we get into the throne room, and I'm just like, what? Like, pick a tone. Just like, I realize Star Wars has humor, but have the humor after like Count Dooku's about to die, like another happy landing. That's where you have the punchline. It's perfect. That's Obi-Wan, and then you have hello there. Like that's he's so good. Everything good about this movie comes back to Ewan McGregor just hoisting this thing on his shoulder and just carrying this whole movie.
Oh yeah.
And I any other way. But then like after that scene you have, oh Annie, you're home. I'm like, oh, this is not who Padme is.
What would you say, like things that your biggest gripe with Revenge of the Sith?
My biggest thing is probably just the overarching the dialogue. It's just
Yeah,
there are some parts where I
too.
just hear it and I'm like, oh no, like it just the I feel like a lot of the parts between like Obi-Wan and Ewan does what he can.
Yeah.
Like between like Obi-Wan and Anakin, and I feel like it's the dude parts. I feel like they sound like they were written by a 15-year-old boy, and I feel like Padme's lines sound like they're written by a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Like it just sounds so juvenile and like something copied and pasted out of a
young
like
reader.
like a romance book that you read when you were in your teens.
Yeah, the dialogue.
Yeah.
This is something that plagues the.
Like Edward Cullen would be embarrassed by Anakin's dialogue.
Yeah, this is something that plagues the entire prequels. Is the dialogue isn't the best part about it, because like the whole conversation when Obi-Wan tells Padme that Anakin is turned to the dark side, it's so on the nose. I think that's my biggest thing. Is like the dialogue is so on the nose that like then me, like every time I see a film or something that I love, it's like what they do is like they say one thing without saying it. If you can say something without saying anything, that
Show don't tell.
Yeah, show me, don't tell me, or say one thing but you absolutely mean something else or something. And it's just people, the dialogue in here, everybody says exactly what they're thinking or exactly what they're feeling.
Yeah, for like Mace Windu to be like, oh, I feel like there's a plot against the Jedi.
We were just talking about this. He's like, I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi. And it's like,
and
really, why don't you do anything about that?
Around
and the dark side of the Force surrounds the Chancellor. Like, well, why don't you do anything about that?
Cool.
I think a better line is, I sense a disturbance in the Force. The dark side of the Force surrounds the Chancellor.
And something's up with
so
the senator over here.
It's
this
a small
politician.
change, but it says so much more than exactly what you're thinking. It's like, oh, there's somebody's out to destroy the
Did
Jedi.
you make a sign and hold it up too? Like, damn,
like,
man, tweet about it. Why don't you?
Like Chris Stuckman did his reviews of these movies. Like he centered in on like this funny nod that Mace Windu does. Like, I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi, and he's like, and then it cuts. I'm like, what? You want, like, what did you say? Oh, well, it's lunchtime. Sorry, I'm in the Union.
It's just like, again, like with all the lines of Padme, it's like, Anakin, you're breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow. It's like, yeah, duh. Then say it's like it's not so much the emotion of the scene. It's how people are saying things. It's like,
just people don't talk like that.
Yeah, and it's like, and I do want to tie in a question, because if you are a member of the squadron, you're a squadron commander. Again, you get to dictate the conversations on our live shows, or our live show, and be on the Schmodown, patreon.com/Andrew and Nikki. And we have a question that ties into what we're talking about right now from, guess who? Ferris Mathana. What writer could have helped George improve the dialogue in this movie? So what writer would you say? I would just say, oh man, I say turn just anybody, really, because like the biggest problem that I had with Lucas was like he said, I'm doing everything. He stuck his foot in the sand. It's like, I'm doing everything. I'm writing. I'm directing.
Yeah.
He could be in.
It's not even like someone to help write. It's someone to say no.
Yeah.
Like he was surrounded by yes men, and granted, it's George Lucas.
Yeah.
He's very powerful. There's a reason why he's in this position, because this is his baby.
Yeah.
This is his universe, galaxy. But he needed someone to say no to him.
Yeah.
And when New Hope got made, he had his wife to say no to him and to re-edit that movie to make it what it is today.
Yeah.
And then he gave the direction to Irvin Kershner. And the best scenes in Empire were on the days that George Lucas wasn't on set.
I mean, because A New Hope is like a masterclass in editing. Like, if you want to learn to edit, watch and analyze A New Hope, because there's so many things that they did. But like, I would say, like, just bring somebody. It really doesn't matter who. Just another voice in the room to say, George, I don't think that line works. Let's try it this way. And I'm not saying like Lucas is like needs somebody else, like, hey George, you're dumb, don't do that. Just another voice in the room, because again, if it just feels like he hammered this out in 1 week. It's like, all right, there it is. Because I remember the behind the scenes stuff saying it's like he's like, oh yeah, I cheated a lot. I said now they fight, and it's like that's the treatment we're giving the quote unquote the last Star Wars movie we're gonna see for almost ever.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
I just think somebody else in the room to say, George, I think we should say this instead of this. What do you think?
Yeah, because I mean, like, there's even that famous like a screening room scene where he's like, I may have overreached in a few places, and everyone kind of like nervously laughs because everyone's like, no shit, dude, like we've wanted to say this for months.
Yeah, so just somebody else, because it's just the dialogue is so harsh sometimes and so on the nose, and it's just oh my god. But yes, thank you, Ferris. Ferris also has another one, another question. Thank you, Ferris. You're one of the best supporters for our channel and our Patreon. What could have the Jedi done to prevent their own doom? I'll let you guys talk about. So what's something you think the Jedi could have done to prevent the fall of the Jedi Order and the Purge and the Emperor taking over? What do you think could they have done? Because I have my own thoughts on this.
Like Order 66?
Yeah, how to prevent Order 66, how to prevent the Emperor coming into power.
I mean, they probably shouldn't have given emergency powers to the Chancellor.
Well, that wasn't them.
Well, what?
That was, yeah.
What?
I think they needed to ask more questions.
Yeah.
Like they accepted the clone army, they accepted their positions as generals in the Clone Wars. They let the Chancellor stay in emergency powers for way, way, way too long. And like they were just kind of high on their own supply of like being the Jedi.
Yeah.
Like they kind of forgot their role in the galaxy of like what they were actually supposed to be doing. And granted, the Clone Wars is very tough for them not to be generals. Like they were forced to step up.
Yeah.
But they got caught up in that, and then the fact that they were so consumed by this war that a Sith can literally be sitting
right in front of them,
a few miles away in the same city,
3 feet in front of them when they're meeting him face to face. It's like
exactly. So it was just like kind of their heads being up their own asses.
I mean,
to put it in a certain way.
In my opinion, I think it was inevitable. It's like it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just they're already, by the time we see them in Phantom Menace, they're already like caught up in their own procedures and their own hubris, because Anakin shows up and it's like, oh no, he's too old. No, he can't be turned into Jedi. That's it.
Too old.
He's too old.
10.
That's it. He's too old. And it's like, okay, cool. And it's they're already caught up in everything, that it was just a matter of time that it was going to happen. And it just happens that Sidious was in the right position to do it. And it comes back to that balance in the Force Act. It's like if it didn't happen after the Clone Wars or during the Clone Wars, it was gonna happen eventually, because the Force.
And if it wasn't Anakin, it would have been somebody else.
If it wasn't Anakin, it would have been someone else. If it wasn't Palpatine, it would have been somebody else. So I think it was just inevitable that it was gonna happen, and it was just Sidious's time. I just don't think there was anything that they could have done. I mean, because they got caught up in it, and they didn't, because like. They said so much in Phantom Menace. It's like in Attack of the Clones, like the dark side, the shroud of the dark side is everywhere. It's like everything, and like all our abilities to use the Force is diminished, and it's like they're basically powerless at this point, so they can't do anything about it. So I don't think there was.
Yeah, they're just sitting in the council room, like. Yeah. And granted, this is George's direction and choices, but they're just sitting in the council room, like Yoda's just chilling in his office. Like, oh, my office hours are 9 to 5, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Other than that, I'm off the clock. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah, but that was a great question. Again, I don't think they can do anything about it. But just listen again. If they would have just taken a back seat to a lot of it, they could have foresaw almost everything. But again, it was Palpatine hiding in plain sight the entire time. So if you can do that to the Jedi,
it is interesting how I feel like the Jedi are always like, oh, well, leave it up to the Force and let the Force guide you. And like you guys are saying, they just sit in a room in a circle like, these are the rules. Well, it's like, all right, well, just let the Force guide you. Chill out.
If Qui-Gon didn't rebel, Obi-Wan didn't rebel, like, I feel like Anakin still would have been like, all right, fuck the Jedi. I know I have the Force in me. I'm going to do whatever I want. Yeah. And he wouldn't have become a good person to begin with. Like, so either way, Anakin was going to end up where he ended up. And then, with the way Mace Windu said, like, granted, I would have been pissed if Anakin, who was like, we don't grant you the rank of master, punk. Like, they just, he just, punked him in front of the entire council. I was like, what the, you couldn't, like, hey, bro, you're doing good stuff. Just like you getting the promotion, not the promotion you want.
Yeah.
But just hang in there.
Chill.
Yeah.
No, he had to like fucking own him in front of the entire council. Like,
Yeah.
fuck Mace Windu.
Yeah, that guy.
Fuck that guy.
Thick.
Yeah. So we got a Streamlabs in from, I believe,
Exiled Garlic.
Thank you for the support.
Thank you. This is a great question. If you could change one moment in Revenge of the Sith to see what the ensuing alternate timeline would look like, what would you change?
Ooh.
That's a thinker. That's a good one.
Because I'm trying to think of
Garlic.
a key moment.
Man.
God, radio sounds is great for our audio listeners.
Yeah. I'll go first and say Dooku getting captured instead of being killed by Anakin.
That's a good one. Yeah.
So like he's completely incapacitated. He gets captured, and I would love to see like if he would make it back to Coruscant alive, if the Emperor would have to show himself too early, to keep Dooku from talking, something like that. Like even if Anakin still turns evil, but I want to see like what would happen if Dooku was kept alive, because they even mention it, like Obi-Wan mentions it in Clone Wars. It's like Anakin killed Dooku, so we weren't able to question him on what was actually going on. So I feel like that would be a good moment. It's like he doesn't get decapitated, and like maybe he spills the beans on some stuff.
That's interesting. What about you? Because I can't think of one right now. Like it's so
I don't know,
hard.
this is a hard question. I don't know. One of the first things that's popping into my mind, and it's probably not that great, but it's like the only thing I can think of right now. Because I don't even know if changing this would have a big impact to make an alternate timeline. But like that moment before, Palpatine takes Anakin on their offer date. I wonder what would happen if Obi-Wan hadn't assigned him to spy on Palpatine.
Yeah.
Because that just kind of sowed more seeds of like, well, in my eyes, the Jedi are evil, and you're just kind of reinforcing that in him. I wonder what would have happened.
Speaking of dialogue, from my point of view, the Jedi are evil. Jesus Christ, George.
Oh man.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would say. I would say if Anakin was sent to Utapau instead of Obi-Wan, I would like to see it because, like, if he's sent to Utapau, then he's not there on Coruscant for
Palpatine to mess with him
more. Because because he says that much. Palpatine says like, yeah, the Chancellor's requested that I lead the campaign. It's like, and the council's like, okay, yeah, you go. Then he's not there for Palpatine to manipulate everybody. So I would like to see how that shakes out, because
that's another thing that they
That's
just
a
own
good
Anakin. He's like, oh, the Chancellor is like, the Chancellor doesn't make decisions. Obi-Wan, you go. It's like, damn, you're just like sowing seed to dissent, like with the two bros over here, man. Like, jeez.
Yeah.
That's
so
a good one.
that's a good one, because I think that changes a lot of things going wrong. Because if Anakin's not on Coruscant, then he doesn't get manipulated by Palpatine so much.
Yeah.
So that's it. As always with Ben Goddard here, we're running long. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us for this episode. We have one more question from a squadron commander. Alec Miller says, what was the moment in Star Wars that made you fall in love with the franchise, basically? So, Ben, I'll let you go first. Well, do you have a moment that you were like, yes, I love Star Wars at all? Or was it just like yeah, I think I can point to one.
Yeah, you go first. Let me think.
So, I would say the Battle of Endor would probably be the one that, like, yes, I love Star Wars, because, again, I don't remember a moment in my life without it. But if I could point to one specific thing that I watched over and over and over and over and kept rewinding and like just wearing out those Betamaxes, was the Battle of Endor. So because I'm a huge X-Wing Rebel pilot guy. If I said it before, if I can go into that universe and become one thing after being a Jedi, I would be a Rebel pilot. So the Battle of Endor is something that I was like, yes, I love Star Wars, and I always come back to the Battle of Endor. Do you have one yet, Ben, or should Nikki go?
I think it is Return of the Jedi, because I think that was my first Star Wars film, and it was honestly the scene. It was the scene where he's like, where Darth Vader like goes, and I didn't even understand it, because like I didn't know it was really like, I kind of knew it was Leia, but I was a kid, so I was like, it's hard to follow.
Yeah.
So I was like, and he goes, sister.
That's a good one.
You have a sister, and then just seeing Luke just light switch, like just snap in that moment was like, oh, okay.
What would you say, Nikki?
Well, mine comes from sequels. Sorry, everybody.
That's fine. That's totally fine. Everybody has a different gateway into Star Wars.
So there's probably 2 moments in The Force Awakens. I really, really enjoyed that scene where Rey is getting the interrogation scene with her and Kylo Ren, and he's talking about I see the island, and like when she just has that moment where she's like pushing back with him with the Force, and you hear that almost like growl. Whatever that sound mixing is, that growl.
Yeah, like that wave pressure, like zzz.
Yeah, when she finally pushes back, it's almost like the Force growls, and it's just such a cool moment. I really enjoyed that, and also it spawned one of my favorite games to play with Andrew, where I will sometimes just hide somewhere.
Interrogate him?
No.
Interrogate him with the Force and Andrew has to
I
fight
know
it?
exactly. I'll let her explain.
I will sometimes just hide somewhere in the house, and I will, if there wasn't so many things for me to knock over, I'd do it right now. But I hide somewhere in the house, and I like crouch on like imagine you're crouching down, you're like sitting on your ankles and you're crouching down.
And you have your elbows on your knees.
Yeah, you're almost like trying to sit like a little froggy or something. And I just wait for him to find me. And when he comes in and he finds me, I go, "You're my guest." Because I just thought that was hilarious. When he's just creeping in the corner, crouching like a little creeper. And she finally comes to and he's like, "You're my guest."
This is what I live with.
You should go
Mrs. Dimalanta, ladies and gentlemen.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
You're my guest. Be our guest. So yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes.
And I expected, but now I have to watch this scene where I know exactly what you're talking about now. I'm just like, how long was he crouched there waiting for her to become
Exactly.
And now, Ben, you will never get that image out of your head of Nikki waiting around in the house to go, "You're my guest."
And I'll perch on top of stuff.
You guys come to the studio in LA. Have Nikki text me ahead of time to plan this out, and I'm gonna be on the table, like center stage, just be like, "My guest."
Oh my God. Ugh.
Done and done.
And with that,
Yes.
And with that, I think we'll wrap up this show.
Probably an
We'll wrap up
appropriate
this
place.
live stream of Going Rogue with our special guest, Ben Goddard. Ben Goddard, go ahead and plug away. Go ahead and plug your stuff away, my man.
Tonight, right after this, probably, what time is it? 6:30? Yeah, probably 7 o'clock. I'll be streaming live on Twitch. Gonna play a little more Battlefront 2. Gonna play a little bit of Call of Duty Warzone. Just some fun gaming stream. Then tomorrow, I've been streaming a lot. So I've got SEN tomorrow. Then we're doing Schmodown Murder Trivia at 12:30 on Twitch.
Loving those streams.
Nice.
I'll be streaming on my own Twitch channel, DJ Jellies. Come request some songs, and that'll be from like 3:30 until like we're done, and that'll probably be like midnight or so. So it'll be a lot of time. So I'm always streaming. I'm always doing something. So come check me out on all my channels at the Ben Goddard. So thank you guys so much for having me.
It's always a good time with Ben Goddard. Go
Always
follow
a good
Ben
time.
Goddard everywhere. His streams are on point.
Yeah.
He's always somewhere doing something. Hardest working man on the internet right there. Nicki Dimalanta, where can they find you online?
Well, hard to follow that up with just Twitter. I say dumb things on Twitter sometimes. You can find me at Timmy, TIMMMYYY.
As for me, you can follow me on Twitter and Twitch. I do live VFX streams. I will be streaming tomorrow on Twitch. I'll be doing lightsaber effects. I mean, it's the first effect anybody ever learns. I found 4 different ways to do lightsaber effects, so come join me on those streams. If you can follow us on YouTube, subscribe to this channel, like the video, comment below. Thank you again for all of our supporters. Go on our on wherever you find your podcast for our Beyond the Schmodom podcast feed. Rate us there; it'll be fantastic if you can do that. And also join our Patreon and become a member of the squadron. They can't see Ben cracking up laughing anymore. I have not updated this. I'm sorry for our newer squadron commanders. I haven't updated this list, but thank you to our squadron officers and commanders, Tamara Butter, Ferris Mathana, and Alec Miller. I know he's not on the screen, but Alec Miller, thank you for that.
Alec Miller.
And we also have a squadron captain. I believe it's Zach. I can't remember the rest of your username, but I will update this for the next stream. Thank you so much for your continued support on the Patreon. Again, patreon.com/Andrew and Nikki. And to plug another thing for the Patreon, I've decided to move forward with my short film that I've been trying to get done for the longest time. And for the $5 tier, our squadron officers, you will be getting access to short film journals that I'll be doing. So basically updating you on the progress, and I'll be taking feedback from you guys. You can suggest plot lines, character names, things like that. I want to take you guys on this journey, and the goal is to get it done next year. And I will be releasing all this information to the public as it develops. But if you want firsthand experience with this journey with me, you got to join the Patreon. I'm really excited to do this. But yeah. Thank you again for Ben Goddard for joining us on this stream. It's always a great time when he's on. We always go over.
Just when you can't find Nikki for like 30 seconds, get your phone out. I need to see this. This is must-see content.
Yeah,
I will try.
So Ben, if you got roommates, you got a significant other, Kylo Ren them. It's great.
Oh yes,
it's a lot of fun.
Post a video and slash Kylo Ren, you're my guest or something. We'll find a hashtag for it.
You're my guest.
So thank you, everybody, for joining us on this live episode of Going Rogue, and we'll see you next week. May the Force be with you, always.